Every year since its founding in 1997, the Philippine Quality Award has recognized public and private organizations that has attained performance excellence in their respective fields. Coming from various industries like manufacturing, healthcare, education, BPO, and even government. But for these awardees, more than the trophy and recognition, they have gained more when they decided to embark on their PQA journey.
PQA is very important. PQA should encourage and inspire not only private companies and government agencies, but the whole society to develop a quality mindset, a consciousness to always strive, be known for quality products and services.
It's really understand that there's a journey towards excellence that you can achieve as a whole community of people, making sure that we develop capabilities that will sustain the organization over the years to come is the most important contribution of this award to us.
The Thomson Reuters Philippines is a company comprising of about in data processing and knowledge-intensive analysis of market-specific financial and legal information. For a branch company of the globally renowned Thomson Reuters, it seems not necessary to undergo quality assessment, but the organization felt otherwise.
The recognition, the PQA recognition, is a snapshot of where you are as an organization at that point in time. We felt like we should and we can do more.
Since joining in 2010,
so instead of just focusing on process excellence and quality, we now tap into the potentials of our employees to come up with ideas, to come up with projects on their own that we can nurture, that we can help drive, so that they contribute more to the organization and making things better.
The same can be said for Unilab Philippines, which prides itself as a purely Filipino company, thriving in the credit to the guidance they got from the Philippine Quality Award.
It was not our primary objective to get the award, but what we're more interested in is the journey to performance excellence. This quality journey means that you look at the organization in a very holistic manner, from looking at your strategies up to execution. It will not just involve one group of individuals or department, so to speak, but it will have to involve everybody in the organization.
What they have gained from their PQA journey really showed their current workforce.
So this philosophy and framework of PQA entails that the organization has to be very open in terms of collaborating among the other members of the organization.
These companies are just among those that has benefited from the Philippine Quality Award.
It's a validation to our employees that you are doing well, that you're a world-class company. You're a company that the Philippines should be proud of. It also increased our branding in the eyes of our stakeholders. I mean, as a part of a global organization. This, I think, is a business award that our organization, not just Thomson Reuters Manila, but the whole Thomson Reuters community should be proud of.
We want to earn the image or reputation that if it is from the Philippines, it is of excellent quality. Gawang Pilipinas, gawang kalidad. This will also make our growth sustainably competitive as our products and services also become future-ready.
For those wanting to embark on their PQA journey, why wait when you can improve now?
am Dr. Sergio Maninas, the Vice President for Philippine Quality Award of the Philippine Society for Quality, the PQA Administrator for Private Sector. And I will be with you throughout the session. We will put ourselves in the presence of the Lord for the invocation to be followed by the Philippine National Anthem.
Dear God, thank you for the opportunity to meet together. Please help us to come together to make this institution reflect your kingdom. Breathe life into our ideas and decisions. Help us build a team that has love and respect at its heart. Give us the strength to continue working for your kingdom in this time of pandemic. Lord, come give us the inspiration to be the best we can be. May we be a shining example of your goodness and truth within, wherever we are. Inspire our thoughts, discussions, and ideas, and continue to remind us that all that we do here today, all that we accomplish, is for the pursuit of truth for the greater glory of you. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Okay, one moment, we're having technical glitch here. May I now present to you our President of the Philippine Society for Quality, Dr. Ray B. Pranista. Hi, Dr. Ray. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much, Dr. Sandra. What a wonderful Saturday to all of you. Thank you for being with us even during this weekend. And thank you for putting your learning as one of the top priorities. And I believe this is one of the things that we can do during this time of pandemic, rather than thinking of being stuck at home or being stuck in life in general. We can make a difference on our lives by just simply immersing ourselves to learning something new. And this PQA is a great template, a great framework for organizational competitiveness, for performance excellence. And this even if you're an SME or you're part of a large corporation, this framework is actually applicable. And I encourage you to jot down or take down notes, either using a notebook or a tab or phablet or an iPad or any notating platforms or tools, so that you can, I think it can help you retain more information. So please feel free to share this event in social media space and use hashtag PSQ Nation. I just want to say that you enjoy this learning session, and please stay safe and healthy. Thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you so much, Dr. Ray. This morning we are Philippine Quality Award. And to know more about our speaker, please watch this video presentation.
Our resource speaker is an industrial engineer with expertise on ISO standards, quality improvement teams, performance excellence framework, and other quality and productivity initiatives. She is currently the longest-serving team leader and assessor of the Philippine Quality Award. She was also part of the technical working group that reviewed the PQA criteria for the public, academe, and healthcare sectors. She is a regularly trained examiner of the Bullridge Framework for Performance Excellence in the United States. She is a recipient of an international award given by the Asia Pacific Quality Organization for her contributions to promote quality and performance excellence, the Asia Pacific Quality Organization's Walter L. Hurd Foundation Award, in appreciation for her valuable contribution in several cycles, as examiner for the Global Performance Excellence Award, wherein she assessed other Asian countries using the Bullridge Framework. For all her contributions as a country councillor and a valued member leader, she was given international recognition and appreciation by the American Society for Quality, a respected and prestigious international organization. For her work and contributions to the pursuit of quality in management, she has received other major awards from the Philippine Society for Quality, the Miguel Aronson Award for her outstanding dedication and volunteerism to the organization to promote quality awareness and practices, the Angel of Eniha and Hall of Fame Awards, in recognition of her active and dedicated service as an officer of its Board of Trustees. She has performed substantial services which contributed to the progress and development of the Philippine Society for Quality. Passionate for quality and excellence, a mother, a wife, and a child of God, ladies and gentlemen, Engineer Angelica Angie Cortero Frangino.
Good morning, Ma'am Angie.
Good morning.
The floor is now yours, Ma'am Angie.
Thank you very much. Okay. Maybe Doc Sans, we can now unshare.
Share. Yes, ma'am.
I'll share. Okay. Good morning, everybody, and good day for those outside the Philippines. It's an honor to be here with you this morning. And of course, it's also a blessing to be able to share the importance of the Philippine Quality Award based on the Baldrige framework. And I'm also very delighted to be able to share with you also the experiences, okay, in implementing the Philippine Quality Award framework. So welcome to our session on institutional quality improvement. So how do we improve it? By adopting the Philippine Quality Award. Okay. I know you have so many things to do, and in the Philippines, it's a Saturday morning, and maybe you've allotted usually the Saturday for your family. However, here you are, and the others also may still have work, but you are here with us attending this session. So you have so many things to do already. However, you decided to be with us to be able to listen to the importance of the Philippine Quality Award. Okay. So why am I here? Why are we all here? Okay. So today, we have a decision to make. So what's that decision that we should be making? To get better, to get worse, or stay the same? And of course, we are all here because we want to find value in our time, and we are here to get better. Okay. Let's first have some reflection. Why would an organization like you wants to use a performance excellence framework? So let's reflect on this. Do you want to improve performance and foster innovation? Do you want to achieve world-class results? Do you want to drive lasting strategic change? And do you want to ensure continuous improvement? And we always say that quality means you cannot just say you care about someone. You really have to prove it. The reason why we exist, it's because we have customers, right? They are the reason for our existence. And the moment we don't have customers anymore, we cease to exist. And we don't want that to happen. So how do we know if we really care for our customers? If we really care for our customers, we don't want to be stagnant. We don't want to always be in the status quo. What we want to attain is that we are improving. And there are a lot of improvement tools in the market available that can help the organization improve. And right now, if you ask quality gurus, one of the best tools that can be adopted by an organization to be able to improve no other than the criteria for business excellence. And in the Philippines, we call it po the Philippine Quality Award based on the Baldrige criteria. So the question is, okay, Miss Anchi, well, we've decided to attend this session through the Philippine Society for Quality. And here we are allotting our time. So of course, my fellow quality advocates and practitioners, I don't want to waste your time. Okay, so the question is, how do we do it? Who should be involved? What are the processes? What are the criteria? When do we start? Where? And why? How come we're doing all of these things? So what? Okay. So these are some of the questions, especially to the newbies, that you want to answer. Okay. So to be able to do that, I prepared the following outline. First, I will be discussing with you what is PQA and its benefits. So what? What's the carrot, right? Then after that, I will navigate you through the PQA framework. And then I'll be discussing the organizational profile, wherein it's very important to know where you are. It's very important to know how are you giving value to our customers and other stakeholders by knowing yourself first, okay? And then after that, we'll navigate briefly the different PQA categories or the criteria itself. And when we navigate, although this is just an PQA awareness session, however, when we navigate later, I'd like to invite you to do a simulation. When we go to the different categories, you ask yourself, do I have already the approaches given this requirement? And you treat that as your strength. You have been existing for several years already, if not the others months, but you will not be existing for several years if you don't have a strength, right? So it's nice to know also to celebrate your strength so that you can sustain it and you can continue with it. So simulate and later on identify your strength. And I also want to mention that there's no such thing as a perfect person, right? Okay. Same as an organization. There is no such thing as a perfect organization. There will always be an opportunity that we will be identifying based on the changing times also. So later on, kindly also simulate, and with humility, let's accept based on the requirement, if applicable, that we have an opportunity for improvement. And lastly, I do encourage everybody to apply for the Philippine Quality Award. So I will be discussing the PQA application process. Okay, so let's start. First, going back to the basics, starting with the end in mind. So what? What is Philippine Quality Award all about? And what can I derive out of it? I'm investing, you're investing your time now, right? So what's the benefit? Okay. And then of course, at the end of the session outline, I'll be entertaining your questions. Now the PQA, as mentioned, this is the highest national quality award. And this is patterned, and thank you to the Malcolm Baldrige National Quality Award of the US and also those in Europe and Asia. So even though we call it the Philippine Quality Award, it does not necessarily mean that it is only limited in the Philippines. No, okay? In the video, and modesty aside, I've been doing assessments in other countries. How come I'm able to do the assessment? Because in other countries, their national quality award is also based on the Baldrige National Quality Award and also the one in Europe. So depending on the country. So it means that this is worldwide. Okay, it is being used worldwide. Now we call it the Philippine Quality Award because this award, as you can see here, the highest. This program is under the Office of the President. So in the Philippines, Office of the President, of course, of the Philippines. That's the reason why it's also called highest, because it is given by the highest person of a country. So for us, no other than the president. And if you ask other quality gurus, not only here in the Philippines, but also in other countries, if you will ask, what's the best total quality management framework now? And they will answer you, okay? That's the business excellence framework. So what is this Philippine Quality Award based on the Baldrige? Allow me first to read and I will explain further. It says here, an integrated approach which promotes performance excellence. Others are saying, Miss Anchi, what is the relation of these different ISO standards, different quality and productivity tools that we're doing? We're doing investors and people, we're doing ISO 9001 and so on. Okay? So it says here an integrated approach. All of the activities, actually, all of the approaches that you're doing in the organization can be put in one umbrella, and that is the Philippine Quality Award or the Business Excellence Framework. For example, right now, almost all organizations, based on my experience working with them, they have ISO 9001 quality management system, and it will fall in one categories, okay, which is about operations. Okay. Others, you have ISO 14001, and it will fall under category 1 leadership of the PQA, which is the 1.2, no? And then others also very common. You're adopting already the ISO 45001, especially during this time of COVID, occupational health and safety, and that can fall under workforce focus, okay, in the PQA. Now, others also, you're doing the 27001 Information Security Management System that will fall under measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. Others, so I'm mentioning the very common, you're doing investors in people, and that will fall under the workforce focus. And then you're using a balance scorecard, that will fall under strategy. You're doing Six Sigma, that will fall under operations, okay? And you're doing customer relationship management, that will fall under customers focus. So these are some of the approaches that we're currently doing in the organization. And sometimes we hear comments like, ang dami, ano bang uunahin? Ang dami-dami na. And so on, pagod na ako. May mga accreditation. Kakatapos lang ng accreditation. We now have the different audits and so on and so forth. So what should we do? What should we do first? Okay. Now, the PQA is an answer that can really integrate all of the things that you're doing in the organization. So later on, you join me when we navigate the different categories. Also, it offers an assessment tool to evaluate organizational processes and performance results. Okay. Hope you won't mind if I mention my first and last job for almost 20 years was with San Miguel Corporation. And when I first joined them as a campus recruitment trainee, as a working student, okay, there's no Philippine Quality Award yet. And my boss, of course, I'm just a mere staff then. My boss, a chief quality officer, he was actually challenged by the office of the chairman, Andres Soriano III. And the challenge is that because belonging to the industrial engineering department and belonging to the quality office department, we have been doing quality and productivity initiatives in the 80s. And I could not forget that question. The question is, okay, you quality people, you industrial engineers, you have been mentioning about the different initiatives that you're doing. And you always mention that you want to become world class. This was in the 80s. You want to become world class. So what is really the meaning of world class? During that time, we were groping for answers. What is really the meaning of world class? And then the follow-up question, you cannot manage, okay, what you cannot measure. So the next question is, coming from the top management, is there a metric system that can tell if an organization is world class already? Okay. And we could not answer that. And that was a challenge to the quality group. Okay. Then the group started to source, to research for any metric system that will say an organization is world class. And here it is. That's the Baldrige framework. Because in the Baldrige, there is a point system. And the perfect score is 1,000, and you will know where you are. That's why it says here, it is an assessment tool to evaluate organizational processes and performance results. Now, earlier, I mentioned it is the Baldrige or the PQA based on the Baldrige. It is an integrated approach. So why integrated? Isn't it an organization? We always want to be valued, and not only organization, even us, right? As human beings, we want to be valued. We want to contribute because that's the essence for being, right? Essence of being. We want to be, yes, it's a given that all persons, you want to be appreciated for the things that you're doing, because at the end of the day, you want to evaluate, what have I done? So it's also equivalent to an organization. You want to be valued by your customers, because if not, the customers may leave us because we no longer has value. So first of all, we need to be valued. So how can we be valued? We look at results. Okay? We look at our impact. We look at our outcome. Now, to be able to do this so that we'll have impact, okay, we need to meet, and not only meet, but exceed customers' expectation. So we need to determine the needs and the requirements of the customers. So we need to engage our customers. It's not only involvement, but the commitment is there. We need to satisfy our customers and delight our customers so that they will be loyal to us, right? And the next question is, yes, we want our customers to stay. We want our customers to be loyal. So the next question is, you cannot give what you do not have. Do you agree? So it's very important that we equip our people. We need to ensure that our people in the organization, they are engaged. They are involved, not only involved, but motivated. There should be a commitment. You cannot give what you do not have. Okay? Then what else? So that the people in the organization, they will be capable and competent. They have the necessary knowledge, skills, and attitude behavior to be able to delight customers. We need to ensure that the processes are in place so that we can have better outcome. So we look at our work processes. And the next ingredient in the management system, there should be knowledge, measurement, and analysis. We base everything, our decisions should be based on facts, evidence-based decision making, right? So we look at our data and dashboard to monitor progress. Now, all of this will not become possible if we don't have an effective and efficient leadership system. So our senior leaders, they have a big role to play because they are the one driving the organization. That's why we have a leaders, because we motivate people so that they can really work at their peak. And when we motivate people, the people, they are able to achieve their targets and objectives because they are inspired by the leaders. It's not because of fear, but they are inspired because their leaders really walk the talk. So we look at leadership. Okay. And what else? What else? There's a need to plan. Okay. There's a need to plan. So the others are mentioning, oh, what's the use in planning? Oh, like for example, what happened to our environment now? Even though we had good plans, but what happened? The more we need to plan. Okay, we need to look at modified changes. Okay, immediate changes, so that we can continue to delight the customer. So we need to have a modified action plan. We need to be agile always. Okay. So this is the reason why the PQA, this is an integrated approach to look at all the requirements of our customers and other interested parties. So may I now relate this to the different categories of the PQA. So when you say category 1, that's leadership. Category 2, this is the strategy. Category 3, customers here. Category 4, measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. Category 5, workforce. Category 6, operations. And all of this should give results, which is category 7. Okay. So let's go to the basic concepts of the PQA. The PQA will be here to stay. Why? This was an executive order October 1997, an executive order number 448. And then in February 2001, it's already a Republic Act. And the Republic Act number, that's 9013, the Philippine Quality Award Act. Okay, so we know that the different presidents, right? They have terms, and then we have transitioned from different president of the Philippines, but starting with the Honorable President Fidel Ramos up to now, okay? So we are always giving the recognition. So the Philippine Quality Award, this is a roadmap towards global competitiveness. Okay. So the objectives of the Philippine Quality Award, we follow standards on organizational performance or criteria for performance excellence. We want to be at par, if not only at par, but also possibly beyond also others. So in other words, we are adapting framework, okay, that will make us, okay, comparable to other organizations outside, not only within the Philippines, but also outside the Philippines, because the Philippine Quality Award, the basis of the Philippine Quality Award, it's worldwide. What else? It's a national system for assessing quality and productivity performance. Okay? So this is the reason why you are here with us now, because we want really to involve more to adopt the Philippine Quality Award, because it is a system for assessing our quality and productivity performance. And when you say assessment, okay, what is really the objective of the assessment? We want to verify if your existing management system, you're adapting the different categories of the PQA. So when we assess, we identify your strengths, what do you have now, your good points, so that you can sustain it, and opportunities for improvement. So it is a tool for improvement. And not only that, another objective of the PQA, we want to recognize organizations which have achieved particularly the highest level of quality and business excellence. Because in recognizing organization, it means there should be sharing of best practices. The moment you apply and you become a recipient of the PQA, you have the responsibility to share your best practices, okay, to other organizations as well. So I'd like to mention, it's not a request, but you are enjoined. And when you apply, Even in the eligibility information form, you sign it. In the application, you sign it. That the moment you become a recipient, you have the responsibility to share your best practices. However, let's qualify that. When you say best practices, of course, excluding the confidential information. The formula, the secret, we respect that. That belongs to the organization. But we're referring to the best practices, more or less, uh, steps, approaches that the other organizations can adopt so that they will also grow. Hope that area is clear to all. Okay. Now, what is the institutional setup? As I mentioned, the patron of the Philippine Quality Award program, no other than the highest person of a country, the President of the Philippines. And then we have a PQA committee, the chair, Department of Trade and Industry, okay, Secretary and Vice Chairs, Development Academy of the Philippines and Philippine Quality and Productivity Movement. And we have other highest ranking officials represented by other entities like development DBM, okay, budget management, Management Association of the Philippines, National Wage Productivity Council, Philippine Association for Technological Education, and other groups, okay? And the award manager, that's the Department of Trade and Industry. Then there is an PQA committee, okay? I mean, a management team organized by the PQA committee. Now, the administrator for the public sector, that's the Philippine Development Academy of the Philippines, and for the private sector, so right now, this is hosted by the Philippine Society for Quality. Okay? And we also have the Board of Judges to determine the definite recognition level based on the evaluation of the team of assessors. And here, of course, very important, people in the Philippine Quality Award when you apply, no other than the assessors. Okay. So that ends the benefits and the PQA in a nutshell. Let's now go to the PQA framework. Okay. This is the framework of the PQA. You will see there the core values and concepts, the foundation. That's why it's there below, because that's the foundation. In any initiative, even you look at other standards, I know you're very familiar also with other standards, they have what you call management principles. Okay, we are supporting those principles, we are supporting the different core values. So that's the objective. How come? That's the foundation, it's there. Now, to be able to operationalize that, okay, we put the requirements, okay, at the level of the what we call categories. So I mentioned earlier the different categories. So we have 7 categories. And I'd like you to look at the one at the center. It means integration. It means that the different categories, they are not, okay, disconnected. They are linked to each other. They are connected. They are aligned and harmonized. So that is integration. Now, look at the gray one. That's the organizational profile. Because to be able to adapt the Philippine Quality Award, after knowing the different core values, the concepts, you should know better your organization. And the PQA will tell us what are the questions or the ingredients that we need to satisfy when we say, oh, you have complete info regarding your organization. Okay. Allow me first to discuss the core values because these are very important. So how come we want to adopt the PQA? We want to adopt the PQA because we want to imbibe the following core values in the organization. First, the visionary leadership. Okay? Yes, we exist because we have customers. Next, it's very important that we value our people, the human resources, workforce, and our partners. Also, to become effective always, okay, and to sustain the organization, there should be organizational learning. So we're not just mentioning here individual learning, but organizational learning and agility, our ability to be able to adapt rapidly to change. And we always focus on success. So later on, we will go through the different areas. How do we realize all of this? And another core value, very much emphasized in the PQA, that's managing for innovation. And in our decision, we always base it on facts. We don't just look at ourselves, but we look at others also. So we have the social responsibility. In the corporate field, we call it corporate social responsibility. We take care of our community. And very important, the integrity in all the things that we do. So it means ethics and transparency should be there. And the things, the activities that you're doing in the organization, the processes, different approaches should deliver value and results. Okay. And lastly, that's the systems perspective. It means that we are not in silos. We need each other. We are connected within inside the organization. Okay. So we have the systems perspective so that we can better serve our customers and other interested parties. Okay. Now the perfect score, it's 1,000 points. And if you look at leadership, it has 120 points. And the always making decision, 90 points. But I want to highlight to everybody the 450 points for the results, because the logic, so what if you have so many approaches? But if it is not giving you any result, what's the importance, okay, of those? What is the importance of those resources, right? Because you might be investing your time, money, and effort, but if it is not giving you any results, so it's useless, right? So that's the reason why 45% of the total score goes to category 7 results. Okay. Now, here in the Philippines, we've customized the Philippine Quality Award Business Excellence criteria. We have criteria for the business sector. We have criteria for the government sector. We have for the healthcare. We have for the education, and we have for the construction. And we also have the latest that we've released, that's the PQA criteria for SMEs. Okay. Now, maybe the others are asking, Ma'am, what's the difference? Actually, when it comes to the different requirements, there's no difference. But the difference, it is in the different, for example, statutory and regulatory bodies affecting the different sector. The difference is that the requirements for that sector, the difference is in the note, okay, when you go to the details, when you read the different criteria, because it is addressing that sector. Okay, but the requirements, it's the same because we need to ensure consistency in the adoption and implementation as well as in the assessment. Okay. So we're done with the PQA and its benefits, the framework. Let me now go to the organizational profile. Okay. So what is this organizational profile? You will see that the organizational profile, that's the one in gray, and it is touching, right? Touching all of the different categories. It's because when you say organizational profile, this is a snapshot about your organization. The key influences on how it operates and your competitive environment. So basic info about the organization. If individually we have our individual profile, the organization, your organization also has the profile. So according to the PQA, what should be there in your organizational profile? So the questions here, it starts with what? Basic info. What are your product and service offerings? What are your mission, vision, and values? Of course, your reason for existence, what you want to achieve in the future, and very important, the core values. What is your workforce profile? The segmentation also of your workforce, the educational attainment. Okay? What are your assets so that you can perform your mission, your vision? What are the regulatory requirements affecting your organization? What is your organizational structure? What is your relation to a parent organization if you have? What are your customer segments? What are their requirements? What are their differences in the different segments? What are your key types of suppliers and partners? What are the role do they play? How about the competitive environment? What is your ranking? Okay? What is your situation? And you look at strategic context. What are your strategic challenges? What are your strategic advantages? And lastly, what is your performance improvement system? So these are the basic information that should be present in the organizational profile. Now, if one of the requirements is missing, it means you need first, okay, to be able to identify those requirements and address it. So very important, address it because these are basics under organizational profile. Okay. So we're done with the organizational profile. Okay. You know, guys, the reason why I'm doing it sequentially because it has an effect in the different topics that I'll be discussing. How come I discuss first the organizational profile before I'm going to the PQA categories? It's because you need to know your organization well. Even the assessors, they were trained. When you evaluate an organization, you should ensure that the way you evaluate them, okay, you should always understand the context of the organization. So those are the basic that should be placed there first. The based on my experience, others they mentioned, "Oh, ma'am, we don't have that yet." Oh, ma'am, regarding that, it's not clear to us regarding our comparable organizations, regarding our comparative data. It's not that clear. Okay, so it means that you need to pause and stop before you go to the different categories, and you need first to address that. Okay, so let's now go to the PQA categories. So for category 1, leadership, so I'll be discussing the item requirement. However, of course, this is an orientation session. This has actually, when you look, because this is the highest, right? The highest, and so far the best framework. Okay, so it does not end here with the basic overall, but it also has the multiple requirements. Okay, but I'll be discussing the basic and then the touching some of the overall requirements. So for every category, the categories 1 to 6, we call them, okay, process categories. Process categories. The category 7, it's obvious result. Okay. Now, for every category, in categories 1 to 6, we have 2 items always. That's why later on, when I present this, you will always be seeing 2 items, except for category 7. Okay. So what are the items under leadership? Under leadership, we have different areas to address under senior leadership. So what is being asked here? Now, when you go to categories 1 to 6, most of the questions now starts with how. So when you say how, you are being asked about the process. You are being asked about the method, the practices, steps that you use to be able to address the requirement. Okay? So the question under 1.1 senior leadership, how does senior leader establish the vision, the values, and mission? How does the senior leaders deploy this within the organization? And not only within the organization, but other interested parties or stakeholders as well. Okay. And the next one, how does the senior leader ensure effective communication mechanism? It's really taking place in the organization. So when you say communication, it is referring to, okay, not only one way, but two-way. There's a feedback mechanism. Okay. And how does the senior leader manage the organization? How does it look at the performance? How does it monitor the performance of the organization? Okay. And when you go to 1.2, it's asking about governance and societal responsibility. So what's covered here? How does the organization address organizational governance? How does the people in the organization, especially the senior leaders, are made accountable for their action? Okay, so on and so forth. How does the organization manage fiscal or financial accountability? How does the senior leader ensure ethics and transparency? Okay, so it is looking also at legal and ethical behavior. So how does the organization ensure that ethics and transparency, okay, these are all maintained in the organization? And how does the organization address societal responsibility? And how does it support the key community? Okay, so that's under category 1. Next, category 2, of course, the items. It is not only coming up with plans, but actually the challenge. Sometimes we're really very excited, enthusiasm to come up with very good plans. Okay, but when it comes to execution, okay, we have difficulty. Okay, so the category 2 strategy, the PQA is reminding us we need to look at strategy development. So in strategy development, it is asking us, how does the organization develop strategies? Do we follow a strategy development process? Okay. And next, of course, these are referring to strategies. So the question is, what are the strategic objectives of the organization? Expectation, strategic objectives, you have the key performance measures, and you have the targets, and so on. Okay. So we're not only development of strategies, but what is really important, another challenge, okay, that's the strategy implementation. Yes, this is a challenge because we develop good strategies, but in the implementation, we had difficulty. We have difficulty. So how do we implement the strategies that we've developed? To implement the strategies we've developed, we are being asked to identify clearly our action plans so that we can operationalize or concretize our strategic objectives. So we have action plan, development, and deployment. Now, we are looking at strategies. So it means that we are looking at performance projections. So the question there, what are your performance projections? Okay. Then what's the basis of our performance projections? How come that's a performance projection? Is it based on historical data? Is it because of statutory and regulatory requirement? Or is it because you're affected by other organizations outside your area? So it's because they are the benchmark, the industry best, or because you need to be at par or better than your competitors. That's the reason why that's your targets, right? Which also should be linked to measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. Okay. So next category, we have category 3. So guys, even though I've just discussed first the categories 1 and 2, if you are a newbie, the first time to adopt the Philippine Quality Award, there's really a value in adapting it, especially those that allow me to verbatimly mention the one shared by an organization. Sabi niya, allow me to use also the dialect. Okay. Alam mo, Miss Angie, kabago-bago namin, pero puwersa mo kaming i-adapt yung Philippine Quality Award. Natutuwa kami kasi maski na bago kami, this is helping us. Nakukuha namin ano ba yung mga dapat naming i-implement. So bago pa lang, nagiging in place na yung mga system. So we are starting to build it. Okay? So yun din po yung message ko. You don't need to be a large organization to adapt it. Actually, kung bago pa lang, you are blessed kasi mag-i-install ka, mag-i-establish ka ng system guided by a proven framework already. So category 3, we go to customers. Now, to be really appreciated by the customer so that customers will find value in us, we need to know how to listen to the voices of our customers because we exist because of them, right? Okay, so what are the requirements here? We need to listen to their voices. So the question there, how does the organization listen to the customers? And when you say listen to the customers, we are not only listening to current customers, but we are also listening to potential customers. Sabi nga nung taga-sales, dito pa lang Miss Angie, taga-sales and marketing ako. Pero going through the requirements of the one that you mentioned, business excellence, natuturuan kami kung anong mga dapat i-set up namin. So right now, we're focusing on the current. Yung pala, there is a guide on how to focus on our potential customers. And because of this, we're able to grow our market because we know the requirements and the PQA is telling us you need to do this, you need that. In other words, it's a guide. PQA is not prescriptive, but there are areas to address, and if we follow it, the organization will improve. And I'm mentioning this from the bottom of my heart based on my experience. So modesty aside, no, I've been assisting organizations. Nagsimula sa San Miguel Corporation, but after retirement since 1999, and sometimes I don't tell them what's the framework that I'm using because I don't want them to be overwhelmed. Kasi pag marinig, Philippine Quality Award, ay, ang hirap niyan. Mahirap i-implement, etc. Pang ano lang yan, malalaki. But I want to tell you, okay, based on the experience with them, without telling them that's the world-class management metric system, pero nag-umpisa sabi nila, yon nakakatulong kasi may guide na silang susundan. Okay? So even though you're just starting, you're not yet mature, you use the framework kasi proven framework na to be able to improve the organization. Okay? Bakit ka pa maghahanap? Proven framework na nga and used by several countries. Okay? So you listen to the voices of the customers, not only the current but potential customers. Okay? And how do you listen to them? Ensuring that there is really a closed loop when you listen to them. Ibig sabihin, it's actionable. So how do you listen to them? You have actionable information so that you can address it. And yes, we need to know if our customers are satisfied. So we need to determine customer satisfaction and engagement. Actually, it's only in the Baldrige that I got to know that there's a difference pala between satisfaction and engagement. Okay? I know there are a lot right now in our Zoom room, okay, attending the session from the education sector. Okay, I've seen in the list a lot from ACAD, okay, academics, okay, education. Now, let's have this example. Okay, as parent, example natin, who are the main customers of a school, education? Siyempre, we are here because of our students, right? Students. Sampulan natin yung mas mahirap pang i-manage. Parents, okay? Another customers ng school, parents. So how do we differentiate satisfaction from engagement? Di ba may mga parents na, okay, makikita mo, sasabihin nila, ay, hindi na ako a-attend ng mga meeting kasi busy ako. Hindi mo siya makikita sa school. Okay? Anong sasabihin nila? Ay, hindi na ako a-attend. Why? Why? Kasi believe naman ako sa school na yan eh. I know they produce quality graduates. I know they produce top-notchers. I know their passing rate is 100%. Okay? Assured na yung anak ko. So okay na ako. Satisfied na satisfied ako. Okay? So the parent is satisfied. Meron namang mga parents na pero hindi siya uma-attend, hindi siya uma-attend. So that parent is satisfied pero that parent is not engaged. Kasi ang definition ng engaged is, okay, you are involved and you are committed. Hindi siya nagpa-participate. So satisfied siya but not engaged. There are also parents wherein sometimes almost every day nasa school. Okay? At wala kang maririnig kundi engaged na engaged siya, lahat na activities nagpa-participate, pero parang may kulang lagi. Okay? Yung mga irritated na, bakit ganito, bakit ganyan, parang wala ka nang ginawang tama din. Correct? Okay? So, maraming reklamo. So, in other words, They are very much engaged, but they are not satisfied. Okay. So what we want to achieve here, PQA is telling us we need to have both customer satisfaction and engagement, which is true, right? Okay. Now, furthermore, how do we engage the customers? So yun, very helpful. Actually, very helpful sa akin yun. Oh, dapat pala mini-measure lahat so that we can really ensure loyal customers. So how do we engage customers? We need to ensure that we have approaches. How does the organization support the customers? So we need to ensure that we have approaches, processes to show that we are taking care of the customer. And when we say support and building relationship with the customer, we are being asked to do it at different life cycle. Sabi ko, may ganun pala. Akala ko, masatisfy mo lang sila. O example, in the academe, no? What is the life cycle? Hindi mo pa estudyante, kunyari mga feeder schools. They are not yet our student. Student muna siya. After graduation, what's next? Alumni. And so on. So we take care of them, hindi pa natin estudyante, incoming pa lang, potential. Nasa loob na, we have many interventions or approaches to be able to take care of them, di ba? Okay? Delivery of instruction, mga student assistance, so on and so forth. And then pag alumni na, we have mga job support, and so on and so forth. Okay? Ganun din in other organizations also. Di ba you've experienced? Allow me to mention this. Oh, we take care of you. We open our customer hotline. You can call us anytime. Okay? Call me anytime. Hindi mo na ma-reach. Blank, blank. Okay? Dial blank. Okay? Others also, for example, insurance. When they are selling insurance, naku, mayat-maya, iti-text ka hanggang mag-yes ka. Pag naka-yes na, what happened? Gagamitin mo na, may problema sa insurance mo, sasabihin, hindi po akong in charge, tawag na lang po kayo sa customer service, pero pag tinawag, hindi mo makontak. So I'm mentioning is that we use PQA to improve the organization. Okay? So given all of this, when you look at the different requirements, it will tell us, okay, it will tell us, dapat ayusin ko to. I need to take care of the customer, hindi lang makabenta ako tapos na, but different life cycle. And the PQA will force us, allow me to use that term, to look at it at the different life cycle of the customers. And it will help the organization to do it that way. Okay? Siguro nagtataka kayo, no? Okay. I did not remove it, but may mga picture. This was during the pandemic, no? I have seen someone attending, no? So even though there's a pandemic, another way to support your customer is being with them, of course, but observing the safety protocol. Oh, I want to highlight that. Okay. It does not necessarily mean you should be with them physically, but it means that you are still doing services to them, even though virtually. Okay. So what's next? We have the category 4. Category 4, measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. Okay. What is covered under measurement, analysis, and knowledge management? First, the 4.1. Okay. It is talking about performance measurement. So how does the organization, okay, conducts performance measurement? Okay. What are your key performance indicators? How come that's your key performance indicators? How did you select? Okay. How do you select, collect, analyze your data and information? Kasi sa dinami-dami ng data, paano ka mamimili? So how do you select, collect, and analyze your data and information so that you can use your data and information to help you in your decision making? Okay, so it covers here the performance analysis and performance improvement. Okay. What else? It includes the management of information, the knowledge, and information technology. Okay. Here, we are being asked on how do we manage our knowledge? How do we ensure that there is a sharing of best practices? Because knowledge management. Okay. How do we ensure that the data and information, it's readily available to all concerned personnel? Okay. So how do we ensure that you can really ensure the security, the confidentiality of data and information in the organization? So it's being taken of that. How about cybersecurity? Do we have a process to handle cybersecurity? Okay. And here I'd like to mention that we are also forced that we should only use, of course, it's a regulatory requirement, we should only use the licensed software. Okay. So we are being asked about management of information resources and technology. Now, if you have information technology, IT department, but just focusing on the infrastructure, it does not cover yet the whole of category 4. Okay? Because the information technology as a department handling the IT infrastructure, that will fall under item 4.2. But if you have, you're managing the management information system in the organization, the MIS per se is already referring to measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. Okay? Now let's go to category 5, workforce. So under workforce environment, we are looking at capability and capacity. Diba? Sometimes you hear people mention, oh, buti ka pa, Ma'am Angie. You have so many people under you. Okay? Or, buti ka pa, ang gagaling ng mga tao mo. And sometimes we mention, yeah, I have so many people, but my goodness, I'm still the one in charge. I'm checking everything and so on. So in other words, okay? So you ask, how come you're the one doing everything and so on? Because they don't have yet the necessary competent to be able to do it. So it means that you have the capacity, but you don't have the capability. Can also happen that, oh yeah, my people, they're, my goodness, I salute to them. They're really good. I can rely on them. Okay, I can delegate tasks to them. Okay, but my people, they are already tired. They're working at their peak already, even doing overtime. So it means that, okay, why they're doing overtime? Because they are not enough. It means that I don't have enough manpower. Okay, that's the reason why they're doing it this way. So in other words, I have the capability, the necessary knowledge, skills, and attitude, behavior, but I don't have the sufficient number of people. So PQ is telling us, how does the organization, okay, address workforce capability and workforce capacity? So here it will, the process for how do you recruit, how do you hire, it's there. Now recruitment and hiring may be already in place. Another requirement in the workforce, it is telling us about, okay, you hire them already. There's a hiring process, okay, the recruitment and so on. But the next question there is, how does the organization ensure that the retention? Okay, for example, you train them already for 6 months, and then all of a sudden you focus on them, then all of a sudden they will mention, oh, Ma'am Angie, okay, I will leave the organization already. What? How come you will leave the organization? I focus on you, I invested on you my time, effort, coaching you, and so on. Okay, but then the person will leave. So it means that the retention, okay, how do you ensure that they are retained? You have a process on how to do it. Okay. HR, and another organization mentioned, Miss Angie, thank you for this category 5, the workforce. Our being with HR department, just by looking at the requirement, it helps us really strengthen the processes, the services that we're doing for the people in the organization. However, guys, I want to mention, when you say category 5, you are not looking only at the HR department, no? We are looking at the processes regarding human resources. So the process owner may be HR, but the ensuring the implementation, okay? I know HR will support me in mentioning Yes, they own the process. However, the implementation, it's not HR. It's a line function. Okay? So we also look at workforce climate, ensuring that we have a conducive work, okay, an environment to work. So you address all of the requirements of the people in the organization. Okay. So how do we know that they are engaged? We have a process for monitoring and evaluating the performance of our people. And in the PQA, it says there, your performance management system, okay, should support. The reason why it says the performance, sasabihin, oh, okay, I'm depressed. Oh, how come you're depressed? Miss Angie, I'm depressed because I'm comparing my performance appraisal, my increase, the the others they just come biometric in out, and then 5 o'clock they're out, and then me I really focus and then go overtime even without pay and so on, but at the end we receive the same. How come? Right? So PQ is telling us, how do you evaluate the performance of the people? We're in. You give rewards and recognition based on performance. Okay? So workforce performance, it says there. Okay? Now next, assessment of workforce engagement. Okay. So here, we also need to evaluate, okay, the perception of the people within the organization. Are they engaged? Are they satisfied? And what are the approaches that they're doing, okay, uh, that they are doing to make them engage? Okay, like for example, you have so many activities. Miss Angie, we offer activities. We have team building sessions. Like for example, right now, uh, we're doing it virtual. Even our Christmas party, we have context. They do TikTok. We have we have contests regarding the best plant with the plantitos, the plantitas. We have like that. And then I ask, oh, how many participate? Let me see how many is participating. Oh, ma'am, for our Christmas party, the one who presented, we have, how many departments do you have? We have 12. How many participated? Ma'am, the three departments, they presented a dance. Okay, how about the others? So, in other words, the percent participation. Okay, are they really engaged? Another, you may be offering, for example, ma'am, we we equip people, we teach people how to fish, and we don't give them just the fish. In other words, training. Okay, training. Okay, so you train people, and then um we mentioned, yeah, we train them regarding the problem solving process. We actually identify the 11 steps. We go to the basic. If there's a why, there's a how. If there's an ishikawa, we have a wakishi. We even teach them how to do Six Sigma. We have all of these tools. Okay. So the next question is, okay, you're done with the training. So what happened after attending all of those trainings? What happened? Okay. So are they engaged? Were they able to use it? That's that is another area to address, especially when you go to workforce and leader development. So what happened to the person after attending the training? Okay, on the job, what happened to them? And also, okay, when you do the workforce, no, when you adapt the requirements under category 5 workforce or human resources, you will see there, when you go to the multiple requirements, you will see there career pathing. Okay, career pathing. Okay, is there a career path for the individual? Another major requirement, it is asking about succession planning. You know, I have a client, okay, wherein, hope you won't mind, ha, I want to share this based on experience. Okay, of course the concept and based on experience. I have a client na they're very good when it comes to research, because the owner is a researcher. uh, he is a doctor, and at the same time a researcher. Okay, and they actually come up with so many products, and I could not help it but ask the group the question. When I was doing this with them, I asked them, doc, hope you won't mind if I ask this question, because right now your organization, you're doing well, because your core competence, it's really about your research. But hope you won't mind, Doc, if I ask. Kasi uh, let's be practical. Let's be realistic. Doc, you're already senior citizen, right? And soon you will reach, you're already in your 70s. But Doc, how can you sustain the organization? What if? Hope you won't mind. What if? And then you know what happened? Okay. Um, he started to become emotional because he mentioned, I have kids, but they have other fields. Okay. This is a realization for me that I really need to train successors. Okay, I need them. I need to engage them now, because if not, what will happen? Their business, their core competence is research, and there are only two researchers, and almost all of them senior citizens already. Rather, two of them, I mean, there are senior citizens already. So how can they sustain if they're not preparing for succession planning, right? So succession planning is very important. Okay. You know, I think, I just want to share FR Sevilla. They started from scratch. Maliit na bahay lang, magmi-meeting kami, isang maliit na mesa and so on. But then they request na, Angie, please help us. Eh ako naman, syempre, komportable ako. Sabi ko, sure, why not? Komportable ako kasi I have a basis on how to help them. I use this. Sabi ko, Sir June, okay, mag-succession planning na po tayo. So, sabi, ano ba, paano ba yan? So, we prepare an approach on how to do it. Nakailang generation na, kasi kailan ba ako nag-retire? 1999, it's already 2021. Who's managing now? Who's managing now the organization? Hindi na siya. Nagga-guide lang siya. Kasi in-involved niya at the very start yung kanyang mga anak. Okay? And they have their respective assignments. And the organization is doing well, even though despite the pandemic. Okay? So that's included under category 5 workforce. Sorry for being emotional because I just want to share with you really the impact, okay? The value if you adopt the framework. I just want to highlight that it's not only because we want to get an award, okay? We are adopting this to be able to improve the organization. Okay. And the next one, we're looking at operations. Okay. Operations. So first, we look at work processes. And when you look at work processes, isn't it, especially if you're doing a quality management system already, maybe the others, you would like to ask questions regarding the difference between ISO and this one. I can answer that, okay, later when you ask me that questions. But let me first focus on the PQA. So the 6.1, okay, but the ISO, it's embedded here also. By the way, I may forget. If you plan to apply for the PQA, just want to mention that being certified to ISO is not a prerequisite. Even though you are not certified to ISO, you can still apply for the PQA. Okay? Because the reason, the others, they don't have ISO certification. However, they have system equivalent to ISO, but they don't call it, but they don't avail of the services of a third party. That's the reason why it is not a prerequisite. Okay. Anyway, going back to category 6, operations, work processes. When you do your work processes, even the way the PQA it's shown, there's a logic. So for the work processes, if we go to the multiple requirements, we are being asked about the multiple and overall and multiple. We are being asked, how do you design the process? So after designing the process, how do you now manage the process or implement it? Okay. Of course, you should not stop with the management and implementation, but you should also improve the process. Okay. Now, one of the approaches that will help you address the requirement, okay, of category 6 is ISO. It is one of the approaches, but I don't want to be prescriptive. So I'm just mentioning one of the approaches may be ISO 9001. Because ISO 9001, it's looking at it's ISO is a process approach, right? Okay. But there are requirements not present in ISO. Okay? Because when you say ISO, it is a minimum requirement for an effective quality management system. But ISO will not tell us if we are world class already, right? Okay. So going back here, we're looking at the design of the different processes. So how do you design? Okay, so when you say how do you design, is there a process on how you get inputs from different interested parties? Okay, so what is the process that you're doing to get the input? And then after doing the design, you are already very clear about the design. Okay, how about the different the requirements also for the different work processes? Okay, so some of you may be used to the quality plan, wherein you identify there per key process, you identify the item to control, right? You have there the dimension in terms of timeliness, quality cost, then you have a standard, so on and so forth. Okay, so that can be an approach to address the 6.1. Okay. Now, after that, after designing, there's a question there now. How do you implement manage? So when you implement manage, some of the approaches can be like this. Oh, to be able to implement it, we for our 2Ps, the policies and procedures, it's documented. How come it's documented? It's documented so that people can have a reference for implementation and use. Tama nga naman to be able to maintain it. Okay? And how do you manage it? So aside from we have documents, oh, there's always a control methodology. Okay? We manage it because at any time, defined interval, we have meetings, okay, to review the performance. What else? Oh, we have monitoring. We have an online monitoring system. Okay, they also declare how to monitor, like for example the use of audits of the system, the use of a checklist, and so on and so forth. And then the improvement, you have a lot available tools, okay, to be able to improve the organization. So it can be in the form of the usual, the plan, do, check, act. Okay, so there are so many ways on how to improve the organization. Okay, especially if you are with quality assurance, you're bombarded with so many approaches, and all we need to do, of course, wala namang fits all, right? You need also to evaluate what will best suit, okay, or fit the organization in terms of, I want to highlight also culture of the organization. And what is also being asked here, emergency readiness regarding the operations. Okay, just like what happened, okay? Uh, this was actually triggered by the pandemic crisis, right? Um, during the pandemic crisis, one of the client organizations called up, Miss Angie, please help us naman. How do we now go about it? We've documented the BCP, the business continuity plan. I go, yeah, you follow it. You follow it kasi there's a work interruption, right? So how do you continue with your business? So we have so many approaches to address mga emergency readiness for the organization. So how do we prevent it? Okay, we place here the ISO 45001 also, the occupational health and safety requirement, and it can be an approach to address also the category 5. Okay, so the usual emergency response team, so that will fall here. So the next question is about operational effectiveness. Okay, so when you say operational effectiveness, okay, it is asking about how do you ensure including in your design that the processes that we are doing, it is still effective. That's why it's called operational effectiveness. So what do we mean by operational effectiveness? Example, okay, how do we manage the costs? How do we ensure balance between the customers and our costs? Okay, because of course customer, they like additional features, right? Example, allow me to use the school because we have so many participants from the school. Let's say the students, they are clamoring for, ay, ang init-init naman dito sa classroom, ang init-init. Okay, so how do you treat operational effectiveness? Ma'am, sir, pa-aircon naman natin tong room, ang init lalo na ngayon summer. Naisip mo, saan ako kukuha ng pampa-aircon, right? Do I have the available funds? Okay, so if you are from the private sector, nagpa-meeting sa mga parents, sabi ng mga parents, oh, hirap na nga ngayon, magpapaganyan pa tayo, so on and so forth. Okay? So, hindi kakayanin. So, balance. Pagdating sa cost, how do you balance it? Sabihin, para hindi mahirapan sila. Hopefully mag face-to-face na tayo uli, no? Siyempre hindi applicable sa ngayon to. Pag face-to-face na, instead na aircon, okay, dagdagan natin electric fans, okay? So that's managing the cost. So how do you manage cost to become effective in the organization, operational effectiveness? So don't forget here mga savings that you do, the basic, no, don't forget that the use of email instead of using all the paper. Actually, we should go paperless, especially to address the impact or the threat of the pandemic. Okay, and then in the operational effectiveness also, we are being asked, because part of category 6 operation, it's about supply chain management. So the supply chain management, it is asking us, how do we select our suppliers? How do we accredit them? Okay, how do we evaluate our suppliers? How do we deal with poorly performing suppliers? Okay, so all of these po are included in category 6. That's why I mentioned, if you are certified to ISO or ISO aligned, especially the 9001, okay, you have an approach already to address the category 6. Okay, but assuming it is deployed in all levels and in all areas of the organization. Okay, now let's go to category 7. Category 7, results, right? Results. Okay, and it is equivalent to 450 points. If you go to categories 1 to 6, it is not really 1:1. But if you go to categories 1 to 6, it has a place. It has a place. The different items, it has a place in category 7. Okay? So let me backtrack a little. Let's go to categories, category items, categories 1 to 6. Okay? So category 1, leadership. So what is being asked in the leadership? In the leadership, it is being asked, how does senior leaders lead? How does the organization address governance and societal responsibility or accountability? Now, you have approaches on how to do it. Now, the result, we place it here under 7.4, leadership and governance results. Allow me to give an example. Let's say you mentioned that, how does the senior leader, okay, communicate with the people in the organization and other interested parties? There's a question there. And then the answer can be, these are our approaches. We implement a survey instrument wherein we ask the people their perception regarding the performance of the senior leaders. Okay, how does senior leader, example, cascade? Okay, so the senior leaders cascade the vision, mission, and core values clearly to the organization. Strongly agree, strongly disagree. Okay, so the output for that you place now under 7.4. Another, let's go to 1.2, corporate social responsibility. Okay, so you mentioned, for example, that you have a lot of programs and it's part of your strategic objectives regarding the support to the community or corporate social responsibility. So when you look now at 7.4, the result, okay, you're doing that. So the question is, so what? Because of that, we have this impact to the community. Okay, they grow. The community became dependent, became independent because we taught them how to fish and not just give them mga donations. So they now can sustain. They now have livelihood. These are results under corporate social responsibility, right? Okay, and so on and so on. Okay, so that's category 1. Let's go to category 2. Category 2 is its strategy. So what is being asked about the strategy? How does the organization develop strategies and how the organization implements those strategies? Okay, so when you do that, what happened? Okay, you come up with strategic objectives. You come up with action plans and programs. Okay, so the question is, okay, you have 20, example, 20 strategic objectives. So were you able to realize or attain those objectives? Okay, so we place that under, actually still under 7.4, leadership, yung overall. Why? Who's accountable? for the attainment of those strategic objectives, no other than the leaders of the organization. Okay. Now, the different measures or strategic objectives, the targets, it can be seen in different areas depending on the perspective, right? Because when you prepare, for example, it's common. Almost all organizations you do it in the form of a scorecard, wherein we call it a balanced scorecard, right? Meaning you don't just look at the financial perspective to be able to have increase in revenue. What do? You need to ensure that we satisfy the customer. So financial perspective, what else? We have customer perspective. So how do we ensure that we increase customer satisfaction and engagement? Oh, we improve our processes. So you have process perspective, correct? Okay. So we have targets regarding process effectiveness and efficiency. Okay. So the next question is, oh, how can I manage well my processes? Oh, you teach people on how to do it. So you have learning and you introduce mga innovation. Correct? Correct? Okay. So because of that, there are different measures. So it may fall in, depending on the measure, the different uh, categories for results. Okay. So we're done with Category 1, leadership. Category 2, strategy. Category 3, customer. Okay. In category 3, customer, what do you see there? We see there also product requirements, measures about product requirements. We can see in category 3 about customer satisfaction and engagement. Okay. Now, anything regarding the product, okay, the product, example, um, let's say in the education sector, you have the enrollment, that you have target for the enrollment, correct? Enrollment. So that can be a product results, okay? And so on. You also have target for board top notchers, okay? Now, you also have target for the passing rate. So those are the product results, okay? So that's category 3. Now, if you go to the manufacturing, others are also from manufacturing. Okay, let's have also examples from manufacturing. You have a lot. You have a lot of measures under manufacturing. You have mga in-process measures, right? Which is actually about process results also. You have mga yields, right? Production efficiency, yield, raw mat, those measures, which actually will also fall under category 6. Okay, category 6, but the results, it is under 7.1. Anyway, going back to category 3, so you have there for customers, and then for the services also, for the services, no, you for example, in the product result also, okay, including customer focus results in 7.2, you have questions there because you need to measure the customer satisfaction level. Okay, we actually do not target, isn't it, guys? I just want to insert this. We do not actually target for zero complaints. What do I mean by that? Okay, we encourage people to complain, right? Okay. Where am I? Maybe the others will, oh, Miss Angie, no, we target zero complaint because people should not complain. No, this is where I am coming from. Okay. There are people who complain. Wala na silang ginawa kundi mag-complain. May mga customers na gano'n, di ba? They complain and complain. I always tell client organization, if they complain, it's okay as long as you address their complaint. There should be 100% resolution rate. Pero you should worry. For example, you are not hearing anything from a client. Doon ka matakot. Why? It may happen that that client, organization, or the customer, they are not complaining because they are tired already. Meaning, maski na anong complain, walang nangyayari. They are quiet now kasi it's not being addressed. They are quiet now because they may be talking to another service provider. So, doon ka matatakot. Okay? Kaya nga, the best metric also, hope you won't mind if I insert this, you target for 100% resolution rate. And you can target for 0, but you place there 0 valid complaints. Kasi there are other complaints that may not be valid. They just want to be heard and so on. But it's okay. You should have a process on how you handle customer complaints, and it's a requirement under category 3. Okay. So, example in category 3, so service group, this is applicable to all sectors, right? So you have a process on how you handle customer complaints, right? And then when you go here already in the result, you will see there, you target, for example, 100% resolution rate. So what happened? Do you have 100% resolution rate? Okay, aside from the usual measure na customer satisfaction and engagement. Okay. Now let's go to category 4. What's category 4? Measurement, analysis, and knowledge management. Now in category 4, isn't it when we studied the process for category 4, we are being asked on how do we select, collect, analyze so that we can use the data for decision making. And we come up with key performance indicators. Now, in category 4, we are asked about the process on how we select it, how we collect it. How would we know if these are the key performance indicators that we will be using, we will be monitoring, we will be analyzing? How come? How come? But the result, okay, of that, okay, uh, I'm referring to the different key performance indicators. It may appear in the different items for category 7. But if you go to category 4, there are for example, there are questions there regarding uh, the IT. Let's say the IT, how do they respond? Isn't it sa IT, how do they respond to the different concerns, which actually will fall under 7.1, the result for that. That's the process results already. So for example, going back to cat for measurement analysis. So for example, the target is error. Regarding the estimate for category 4, it includes also the managing of the different key performance indicators, right? It includes the IT infrastructure. Let's say, allow me to mention, because this is also a reminder for everybody, no? We should have 100% of dapat lang all all softwares being used in the organization should be licensed. So we mentioned, oh, we ensure that in category 4, we ensure that the software that we are using in the school, not only in the school, in all sectors, no, it's all licensed. Okay? So where do we show that na license talaga? So it can fall under the 7.1, the process results. Okay? So there's a question under cat 4 is example, the question, how do you ensure that that the data knowledge it's readily available to all concerned personnel. So pagdating mo sa process results, pwedeng ilagay mo doon, 'di ba? Meron, you do also audit, okay? You may have a checklist. There's a question there, the how does the organization access documents? So meron ka ba diyang findings? Yes, no. So the findings can be placed under the result. Okay. Now let's go to category 5. Category 5, that's workforce, di ba? Workforce engagement and workforce environment. So it's obvious the result for that. Example, they mentioned that you have mga approaches that you have a retention program, mga retention program. So sa retention program, you mentioned you have so many activities and so on. So the result can be, what will be your attrition rate? Oh, may pa-program ka pa. Pero yung turnover rate mas mataas pa kaysa sa industry. Okay? That's alarming also, di ba? Oh, sa workforce you do training. So ano yung training effectiveness? Ano yung result? Okay? Ilan ba yung nag-adhere sa schedule? And then ang gusto ko rin, others mentioned regarding there is a process on how to promote people. Okay, there's a process. So over time, kumusta naman yung promotion, yung result ng promotion? Meron bang na-promote? Okay? And then you also mentioned that, okay, you deploy the usual workforce satisfaction, engagement, climate reading. Okay, you do that. So what are the results? So over time, for example, now the workforce engagement, let's say, is 90. So what happened next? What's the workforce engagement or workforce satisfaction from Likert ng 1 to 5? Before it's 3, or may mga unfavorable 2. Or what happened over time? Okay, given assuming the same parameters or the same questionnaire, okay, is it still is it the trend favorable, and so on and so forth. So there are a lot, right? Okay. And then, so we're done with Cat 5 and category 6 operations. So for operations, the result here, we place under 7.1, the process results, which I also mentioned earlier. Okay. So this is the reason why it's 450 points, because we are after the so what? So what? You've been implementing the SCAT 1 to 6. I-ano ngayon? Okay? So cause, cut 1 to 6 can be the causes, and the effect 7. The outcome, cut 7. Okay? Okay. So let me now go to the scoring guidelines. Okay. For those who are already having the ISO, okay, sa ISO, basically it's approach and deployment. Okay, what you document should be implemented, and vice versa, right? So it's talking about approach and deployment. But when you go to the PQA, it's more than that. Okay, we look at evaluation dimension. Pagdating po sa, I discussed the categories 1 to 6. Okay, approach, deployment, learning, and integration. Okay. Now, we use this scoring evaluation dimension if we're talking about categories 1 to 6. So when you say may tinatawag pong ADLI, may tinatawag na ADLI. Okay? A stands for approach, D for deployment, L for learning, and I for integration. Okay. So let me mention further what is the meaning of the ADLI. So when you say approach, this refers to the methods, processes used by the organization to address the requirement. And the approach, it says there, it should be systematic. To be systematic, the approach that you should be doing, it should be repeatable, nauulit. Kasi the moment hindi siya nauulit, in the PQA, we call it anecdotal. Nagkataon. Okay. Kasi the moment you repeat it, isn't it, when there's repeatability, okay, it becomes a way of life already. Okay? So that is also equivalent to maturity of the process that you're doing. So how would we know if an organization really has an approach? You have a process there, and you can show the frequency. You can show the repeatability. Okay, so if I mention that, Ma'am Angie, we conducted our strategic planning 3 years ago. Okay. Okay. How do we make that a systematic approach? Pero when we mention, Ma'am Angie, our organization conducts strategic planning every 3 years. So that is a systematic approach because there is repeatability. Okay, and we always emphasize internalization. So we cannot change people overnight, di ba? So how do we know? How do we know if the process is internalized? If they can repeat it. So it's now embedded and it's becoming a way of life. Okay. Don't worry. After this, we will have a short break so you can also go to the restroom because health is wealth, right? Okay. And nowadays also we need to manage our health. Okay. And then the other one is deployment. Okay. What's the deployment? The deployment refers to the extent of implementation of the approach. So when you say deployment, this refers to, okay, I have an approach. Is it implemented in all levels of the organization? Okay. Let me pause here. Ito yung nakakataba rin sa puso pag naririnig ko sa kanila. Ma'am, actually ma'am, yung PQA journey, ito palang PQA journey, nagustuhan namin eh. I have a client organization, nationwide sila. Okay, they have branches at the different areas. Okay, I'm helping them implement total quality management. Okay, at first, tinitingnan yung head office. And then, I'm using this as a guide to improve the organization. So I tell the top management, sir, let's ensure now whatever approaches we have here at the head office, it should also be deployed in all branches. Sabi ba naman ng mga tao, sabi nung, una muna, very supportive yung management. Sabi ba naman ng mga tao, ay, ang ganda. Kung anong ini-implement sa kanila, nakakaabot na sa amin. Okay? yung term pa lang na yon, 'di ba? Parang you're inspired, you're motivated because of that realization that whatever approaches being implemented in one area, it has to be implemented. Those approaches needs to be implemented in all appropriate areas. Nakakataba sa puso. Sasabihin nila, "I thank you. Gumanda yung area namin kasi automatic pag meron doon kasama kami. Pag nagba-budget, automatic kasama na kami." So the deployment, that's the extent of implementation. Not only vertically but horizontally, all levels in the organization. Okay? And then what else? What else? Okay? You have learning. So when you say learning, learning refers to the cycle of improvement. Okay? So you look at yung bang nare-remind ka. Kasi if you're certified to ISO, we maintain then, pasok ko lang, no, kasi ISO can also be approved to address some of the requirements of the PQA. You have mga revision number, right? To show that there are changes. I think some of you have experienced na ilang taon na kayong certified. When you look at your processes, ang revision pa rin ng iba, zero. Zero. Okay? Although there is a requirement really sa ISO that you should be reviewing your policies and procedures at least once a year. That's a requirement. Review. Maaring may changes or wala, depending on the review. So here, there's learning. Sinasabi ng learning, there should be a cycle of improvement of your approach kasi dapat hindi stagnant. Okay? And based on that learning, you are able to share best practices to others also. Okay? To others. In learning, allow me to relate this also sa category 4. There's a question there in category 4, measurement analysis management as part of analysis, no? How does the organization identify highly performing organization? Okay? So for example, in the education sector, okay, ang galing naman ng program na yan. Lagi kayong may top notchers sabi nung administrator, can you identify your practices? How come you always have top notcher? And you deploy that in all areas. So they did that, nakaka-produce na rin ng top notchers. So learning also involves sharing of best practices. So my cycle of improvement, and how does the organization ensure that this cycle of improvement is shared within the organization? Okay? So that's learning. Then what is integration? When you say integration, it refers to two. You may be aligned, but you may not be integrated. So may kaibahan ang integration sa alignment. So when you say integration, it covers alignment plus harmonization. Because it can happen sa organization that we are all aligned to the vision of the organization, but we may not be harmonized or integrated. Bakit? Kasi lahat tayo nakatutok sa vision statement. For example, our vision statement, okay? Example lang to pero medyo gasgas na. To be one of the leading or the preferred choice or to be one of the leading institution in the Asia Pacific, etc. Okay, that's the vision. Asia Pacific. So ang operations naka-align sa vision. Their action plans and programs, their objectives, it's aligned to the vision. Okay? They want to go outside the Philippines, expansion because of the Asia Pacific. But if you look at the objectives, example, action plans and programs of human resource, it is not in their plan to train people. For example, they plan to expand. They go to Vietnam or the China, etc., Asia Pacific. But in the HR, if you check the plan of the HR, there's no training them given to the people who will be assigned outside the Philippines regarding the culture of that country. Okay? So, we are all aligned, but we are not harmonized. Okay? So, when you say integration, there's an alignment plus harmonization. That is equivalent per PQA, Baldrige, that is integration. Okay? Aligned where? Aligned to your organizational profile. Harmonize saan? Harmonize amongst the different processes within the organization. Okay? So we apply this for categories 1 to 6. Now let's go to category 7. Category 7 results. So what are we looking at sa results? Okay. We have what you call in the results, let's see. So if we have oddly sa categories 1 to 6, we have let's see in category 7. So what is levels first? Levels referring to your current performance, where you are now. Okay? Vis-a-vis a certain target. So you know your level. Then trend refers to how are you doing over time. Okay? This reminds me of an executive wherein uh, they're being, allow me to use the word audit, they're being audited by a certifying body, and then their actual is only 20, but their target is 99%. Okay, if you're the auditor, you will ask, how come you're targeting 99%? However, your actual is only 20%. Would you like to analyze further? Okay, how come that's your target? You know, during that time, no one attempted to answer. Okay? They were waiting for their president CEO. Nagkataon, yung president CEO katabi ko. Tapos um he answered it with conviction. Ito yung sabi niya. I just want to relate here the levels and the trends. Sabi niya, no, okay? I cannot lower the target. That will be our target, 99%. Even though our actual is only 20%. As the president of the organization, okay, I will be satisfied if I will see my people, they may not be meeting the target that I've declared there, 99%. But what I want to see is that they are improving over time. Okay? Because I want to instill to the mind of everybody, guys, we cannot tolerate error. Okay, customer is very important. Even one customer, we cannot lose them because this one customer, they may tell other customers, even potential customers, about the service, a lousy service that he or she experienced with us. Okay, so sabi niya, I want to instill to the mind of every employee that we cannot really tolerate error. We always aim for quality. That's why it should be there. Okay, it should be there. Everybody attending the session, even the certifying body, they were quiet about it. And then the words that they just mentioned, thank you, sir. Okay? So this is the reason why, okay, based on experience, monitoring the trend is very important, right? Okay? How are you doing over time? Okay. Now, in terms of levels and trends, yes, we may be meeting the target, we may be improving over time, and then sasabihin, oh, blowout naman dyan because we're meeting the level, we're improving over time, we have beneficial trend. Okay? Beneficial, we can sustain it, and so on. Pero sabi nung owner, I don't think so, guys. I don't think so. Maybe you're wondering, how come I don't think so? Okay. You know what? It's because you may be attaining the target, you may be favorable over time, I mean beneficial trend over time, okay? But you are here meeting the target favorable, but your competitor or other comparable organization is here already. Will you be happy? Of course, no. So when we do category 7, when we evaluate category 7, when we analyze category 7, we look at comparable organization. How are you doing versus other organizations as well? How are you doing versus benchmark? Okay? Or best practice. That's the reason why we need to have data. We need to have comparable organizations. And normally, if you're from the private sector, these are your competitors and benchmark. And if you are from the public sector, you're actually in the public sector, we don't have competitors, okay? Because you need to work hand in hand. You need to collaborate with all organizations, but you have comparable organization, okay? So what's the next one? The next is integration. Sabi, Ma'am, what's the difference? Process, integration, results. The concept is the same, but the application, it's like this. So for category 7 results, when you say integration, we are linking the organizational profile that I mentioned earlier with categories 1 to 6. So for example, you mentioned in category 6, you have mga work simplification initiatives that you're doing. You're implementing, let's say, teaching people how to do problem solving process. So in other words, allow me to use, you have quality improvement teams na mga program. Okay. So what happened to that? You now link that category 6 that you mentioned, that you have quality improvement teams, to category 7. Okay, you have QIT. May resulta ba? How many personnel joined in your QIT? Were you able to come up with the project? Were you able to identify savings? Were you able to identify benefits? So what are the results, right? The integration is also linked to the organizational profile. What is the meaning of that? In the organizational profile, there are questions asking about um, segmentation. For example, we mentioned regarding the organizational structure that we have different plants. Okay, pang manufacturing naman tayo ngayon. We have different plants, or kung school, you have different campuses, right? And then you are implementing a program. So when you go to the integration, the expectation there, we should be able to show result not only pertaining to one campus, pertaining to one plant, or one location, but you need to monitor the result for all the segments. Okay? So where do you show the result? Obviously in category 7. Okay po? Okay, guys? So hopefully clear so far naman. Anyway, I will entertain questions later. Okay. So we've discussed what is PQA and its benefits. We've discussed the PQA framework. We've discussed the organizational profile. And we've discussed the PQA categories. And the last topic that I'll be discussing, I encourage you to apply. Okay? But before I go to the application process, maybe we can have 5 minutes. Let's all go to the restroom, including me po. Okay? So, Doc Sans, restroom po muna tayo. Okay, 5 minutes.
Noted, Ma'am Angie.
So welcome back, everybody. So I will now discuss the application process. Okay, then after this, we'll have Q&A. Okay. Yeah. So the question that we need to answer now, why apply for the Philippine Quality Award? Okay. Let me now share with you the benefits to the organization if you will apply for the PQA. So aside from making the PQA as a tool to improve the organization, okay, we can also apply. Okay, what's the value in applying? So the benefits. So satisfaction guaranteed. It says here, first of all, because the moment you apply, it means that you are forced to adopt the Philippine Quality Award framework. So that's the reason why you are now confident and you want to apply, okay? Because you're implementing it already. So increase employee involvement, customer satisfaction, and retention based on what I've discussed earlier. And the moment you are interested to apply because you're confident that you have achieved performance results. Okay? And as I mentioned also earlier, when you apply for the PQA and you become a recipient, okay, you are asked, okay, you are enjoined to share your best practices to other organizations as well. So they're sharing a best practices. So benchmark for exceptional management practices. Okay. Now, looking at the application process itself, how will your company benefit from this one? So it says here, outside perspective of organization strengths and opportunities for improvement. Okay? Your organization will be assessed. Allow me to use the word assessment. I think you will notice that I'm using the word assessment for PQA and I'm not using the word audit. Okay? So I just want to differentiate that. Sasabi ng iba, Miss Angie, may difference po ba ang assessment and audit? There is. Okay? In your ISO, 'di ba? You have internal quality auditor, you avail of the services of a certifying body. So what's the objective pag nag-audit? This is how they defined it. To verify if the existing quality management system or environmental management system and so on is in conformance with the standard. So when you do the audit, it can happen. Kaya even the CBs, they always mention, we are not here to seek for conformance. We are not here to seek for non-conformance, but we are here to seek for conformances so that we can continuously, okay, recommend you to the continuing validity of the certificate. So while they're doing that, it can happen that instead of conformance, they issue a non-conformance. And what happened with that non-conformance? Okay, it depends on the gravity of the non-conformance. If it's a major non-conformance, they need to verify for it immediately within 30 working days. But if it's just minor, during the surveillance visit, they do it. Okay, they close it out during the surveillance visit. So what's the difference? In the PQA, we use assessment because we are not issuing conformances and non-conformances. Okay? The report that will be issued will show there what are your strengths and opportunities for improvement. Okay? And when you apply for that cycle only. You apply for that year and you will be assessed for that specific cycle. Okay? The assessors, we call the one assessing assessors. Okay? So the PQA assessors will not be coming back to do a follow-up. There's no such thing as follow-up. Okay po? Okay? But if, of course, we encourage applicant to reapply, but when you reapply, you will treat that as another application report. Okay, you update the existing application report, and that's the one that you submit. Okay, so at this point, baka ko si makalimutan, I just want to differentiate the difference between assessment and audit. Okay, so let me now proceed. So the assessors, together with the board of judges, actually, they identify strengths and opportunities for improvement. So you get an outside perspective, okay, to identify your strengths and opportunities for improvement. And then what else? Thorough evaluation and review by experts and panel of assessors. Okay. Why do we mention thorough evaluation and review? Because they go through what you call evaluation process. So I will show you a glimpse on how it is done. Okay. And then you will be receiving a feedback report. So that when you apply, correct, you will be preparing an application report. At ano ang balik nun? You will be given, you should be receiving a feedback report. What will I see in the feedback report? It is a guide, okay, regarding quality and productivity improvement. It is a guide regarding mentioning there what are your strengths and opportunities for improvement per, it's not only per category, ha, it is done per item. So for example, category 1, leadership, you will receive a feedback report consisting your scoring range, plus the strengths and opportunities for improvement. So there is a score and set of comments for example, category 1.1 senior leadership, then another set for 1.2 governance and societal responsibility. Okay. I mentioned earlier regarding the thoroughness of in conducting the assessment by panel of assessors or assessment team. How come it's mentioned thorough? Because they follow this basic evaluation process. They're doing this during the independent review, consensus review, site visit review. Okay po. When they do the evaluation, to give you a glimpse on how it is done, number one, they are asked to ground themselves in the criteria. In other words, they cannot go beyond the criteria. They look at the not only the basic, the overall that I mentioned earlier, they also look at the multiple requirements of the criteria. Okay, so that's number one. The number two, select the relevant key factors for the item. They are being guided that when they assess, they need to clearly understand where the organization is coming from. They need to clearly understand the organizational profile or the context of the organization so that their assessment and analysis, it's focusing on questions, okay, or areas to address, allow me to use the word relevant to the organization. Okay, you call that identifying the key factors. For example, some example of these key factors. Oh, these are the product offerings of the organization. Oh, these are the comparable organizations. So that when they assess, they use all of those parameters. Oh, they mentioned they don't have a parent organization. So don't ask questions about a parent organization because it's not applicable to them. Okay. So when you apply, I also want to mention to the group that you prepare well your organizational profile, because when you apply, your customer, these are the assessors, okay, and not coming from within but outside. Okay, after that, they were asked, read the relevant sections of the application. There's a process. They actually read the application report that you'll be submitting from cover to cover. Okay, and they don't read it only once, but reread until they will understand all the ADLIs, approach, deployment, learning, integration, and all the let's sees. Okay, and then they are trained to draft around 6 strengths and office. Maybe you're wondering, how come only 6 for strengths and office? I'm referring to item per item. Let's say for category 3, okay, 3.1, listening to the voices, 3.2, customer engagement. So for voice of the customer, you have around 6 strengths and office. And then the 3.2 customer engagement, you have around 6 trends and office. How come only 6? It's because we are guiding the applicant or the organization go to the next level. How can they go to the next level? Because kung you will bombard them with a lot, no, they will be overwhelmed. Mawawala na ng gana. So helping them go to the next level so they can improve. Okay. And then number 5, draft feedback ready comments. The meaning of this draft feedback ready comments, what if you will be an applicant, what you will be receiving part of the feedback report, all the comments, it's feedback ready comments. When you say feedback ready, it consists of the gist or the nugget. What's the main idea that the assessor would like to convey? Okay, you have the nugget, then they will give examples so that it can easily be understood. Nugget example, and the very important one, relevance. Meaning of relevance, there is a statement there. How come you want the organization to continue with that strength, and how come you want the organization to look at these opportunities for improvement. So if they will do this, what may happen? So this can help, this may contribute, all of that. That's the reason why there's a rule for feedback ready comment. And then the next step that they do, they now determine the scoring range. Okay, so given the because there are scoring range and the perfect score 1000, so let's say 50 to 65% of that is specific score for that item. Okay, so that this is how the reason why it's called thorough, because they go through this process, and they do this for all of the items. So for categories 1 to 6, we have six categories times 2, so you have 12, and then plus the cat 7, you have 5. So they go through this, okay, 17 times. So that's the reason why okay, the term there, thorough. Okay, and they also look at the all of your ad lists and the let's sees. Okay. Now, the next question. Okay, Ma'am Angie, there's now a buy-in. Hopefully there's a buy-in, ano? There's now a buy-in, and we would like to apply to be recognized. Because when you are recognized, not only looking at the feedback report, but just by getting I'm sharing this based on experience with client organizations na nanalo. Nag-share sila. You know, Angie, it's also nice to really be recognized because every time we prepare brochures, every time we prepare paraphernalias, every time we prepare program, even in our website, we always highlight the logo of the PQA. But of course, when you use the logo, you place there when you were awarded. Okay? Okay. Kasi there are also guidelines on how to use the logo. So the moment you become a recipient also, aside from that, we always mention improvement, improvement. Yeah, we know that already. So just by using the logo in all your materials, it enhances your brand image. Kasi diba, wow, PQA, wow, there's a recognition, right? So it enhances your brand image, correct? Okay, sasabihin, okay, Miss Angie, we want to apply. How? Okay, ito na po yung process that we will go through. Okay. First, you need to prepare, accomplish the eligibility information sheet. Okay, or the form. Okay, this is about actually asking about the organization. Basically some of the questions that you mentioned in the organizational profile. What are your product offerings, the workforce profile, ilang kayo, and so on. So you submit that to know if you are eligible or not. Okay po. To become, maybe the question, oh, Miss Angie, how can we become eligible? Okay, the basic requirements, number 1, of course, you should have a legal entity. Okay, identity. Okay, so mga SEC, BTI, and so on. And you should be in existence for at least, ang minimum po, at least 3 years, because we will be looking at the trend. Okay, and another requirement to be able to join, okay, you should be self-sufficient in 7 categories. It means you have the appropriate ad list and the let's see from categories 1 to 7. And another prerequisite, ipopromote ko na rin, To be able to join, you should have attended the PQA Application Development Training Workshop. Now, the one administering for the private sector, that's the Philippine Society for Quality, and for the public sector, we have the Development Academy of the Philippines. So when you submit your eligibility information sheet to determine eligibility, you need to include your certificate of training. So 1 to 2 may attend from your organization. Why? How come this is a requirement? Because we want to ensure also that you have assessor-friendly application report. Okay. So from there, you will now submit the application report. So you can visualize the application report. All of the organizational profile, the categories 1 to 7 that I've discussed earlier should be there. Should be there. So what will your application report looks like? So you visualize. So 2 columns, Times New Roman, size 12, single spacing, back to back, and the size of the paper is A4. Okay, so you visualize it already. So maximum of 50 pages from categories 1 to 7 plus 5 pages for the organizational profile. No annex, no attachment. Okay po? Yeah. Then after that, the application report will be reviewed by assessors. But the first stage, they will be doing the independent review. So when you say independent review, individually, that's why individually, they will be reviewing the application report. They don't know each other yet, okay? Individually, for example, normally 7 in a group, okay? 7 to 9 in a group, depending also on the organization to be assessed. So, for example, I'm one of the assessors. Example, as an assessor, I need to come up with my own scorebook, identifying the scoring range, the strength, the OFI for every item. Okay, so that's the independent review. And then, after the independent review, you have what you call initial consensus review. What is this initial consensus review? The initial consensus review means that all the assessors who conducted independent review, they will now meet, and that's why it's consensus. Kasi based on consensus, it's not based on majority. Based on consensus, they will now agree on one scorebook. Okay? So they will come up with one scorebook as in the initial consensus review. And along the way po, there is what you call, siguro yung question nyo, ma'am, anong qualifications ng mga assessors? Anong kay nila para mag-assess? They're trained po. There is a qualification, more or less, managerial function, okay, knows how to analyze, okay, and there is a training. So what you call PQA assessors preparatory course to become qualified. Preparatory pa lang po yan. And then there's what you call PQA calibration course. Then from there, you can already assess. Okay? So after that, they will be getting inputs from the judges. This is what you call pre-site visit review, together with the judges. Mga questions that the judges also would like to know. Then from there, what will happen now? They will be conducting site visit review. So when you say site visit review, they will now go to your area. It depends on the situation. When you say they will go, it can either be physically, face-to-face, or virtually. Okay, you can conduct the assessment virtually, okay, as well as physically. So it depends on the status of our pandemic. Okay. So what is the purpose sa site visit? In the site visit, you have two objectives. Number one, to verify site visit issues. When you say verify, these are the strengths and you want to validate it during the site visit. In other words, the assessors would like to see if the one that you've documented in the application report, it's really evident in the organization. So that's the reason why they do assessment on site, okay? On site physically or on site virtually, okay? Another objective is to clarify. So when you say clarify, they clarify missing items or any unclear comments, statement that you mentioned in your application report. Okay? So then after that, they again meet to do the final consensus review. So when you say final consensus review, given the result of the site visit, okay, given the closure of the site visit issues, the score may either be retained, the score may go up, or the score may go down, depending on the result of the site visit. For example, they place it as an opportunity for improvement regarding the deployment. However, when they check, it's really deployed in all areas, 100%. They can see good deployment, so the score can go up. Like for example, it was mentioned in the application report that they are really doing, okay, a lot of approaches, okay, regarding customer engagement. But when they check, it's not evident in the organization. So it's not there. They just started with it. So the score may go down. Okay. So it really depends on the results during the site visit. Now, after that, the assessors will now present it to the board of judges. So there's a final judges review. And what's the role of the judges? Um, the main role of the judges, they need to determine what recognition level will the applicant fall. Okay? Considering, of course, major consideration will be the assessment done by the assessors. Okay po? And also helping the assessors um, prepare really a value-added feedback report for the applicant. Okay? Okay, so the next question is, Ma'am, kailan ba mga deadline? Okay, I place here source because this came from, with due respect to the DTI. So source Department of Trade and Industry. This is normally the timeline that we follow. So the submission, for example, you want to apply for this cycle, the last day for the submission of the eligibility determination form or information sheet, last day of March. Okay po. Now, for those who want to join this cycle, but this is all year round. You can submit the eligibility information sheet or form all year round to know if you are eligible. Now, the submission po, number 2, let's go to number 2. The submission of the application report po, that's last week of May always. Sa ngayon, but for the previous cycle, because we're affected by the pandemic crisis, so there was an adjustment. But this time, we are now following the usual timeline. Okay, so last week of May, this is the 50-page application report plus 5 pages org profile. So this is the 55-page application report. Now, after that, June, July will be the independent review usually, and then the consensus review, that's July, August. Okay, and expect the assessors to site visit you normally August. Pre-site visit, I mean with the review also with the judges August. And the actual site visit, that's September. And there's a review with the final judges October. No, ideally, the awarding of the PQA should be done yearly December. However, it depends on the availability also of the President of the Philippines. Okay? And anyway, I also want to let you know because uh, the real case, sorry, the one equivalent to the bald rates, that's the highest level. I will be discussing that later. Okay? Now, the recipient of the awards, the potential recipients of the award can be the private and the public sector. Okay? So all sectors, okay, can be a potential recipient. Okay. Here's the award and recognition levels. For the level one, this is recognition for commitment to quality management. So what is the descriptor for that? Demonstrates serious commitment to improvement to achieve quality excellence. So this is level, okay, level 1. Okay. Now, Okay. Now the level 2, recognition for proficiency in quality management, demonstrates significant progress in building sound processes already. Okay. Maybe you want to compare yourselves, okay, based on what I can recall. Okay, let's say level 1. So you know also where you are. Level 1, you may level 1 recipient. Our host now, our MC now, Doc Sandra. She belonged before to Letran Calamba. Letran Calamba is a level 1 recipient commitment. John B. Lacson, Maritime University, is a level 1 recipient. Okay. Lyceum, Manila, Lyceum Laguna, level 1 recipient. The Southville International School, level 1 recipient. Okay. And then, okay, let me go to manufacturing. For manufacturing, you have the Optodev. They are the one manufacturing eyeglasses. So level 1 recipient. And then for the government sector, we also have a lot now for the government sector. We have a lot from DOST, the different regions. Okay. We also have from Dole already. We have from NEDA and so on. Okay. So may I just request you to visit the PQA website for the other recipients. Okay. Now, I am just mentioning so that you can relate. Okay. Now, level 2, recognition for proficiency in quality management. So, for the school who are the level 2 now, you have the Centro Escolar University, you have University of Santo Tomas, you have Holy Angel University, and then you have Lyceum Batangas, level 2 recipient. Okay po. And then a lot also from other sectors. Now in the public sector, we have level 2 recipient also. Okay, NKTI, National Kidney, is a level 2 recipient. Okay, and the others, we're still waiting for the announcement. Coming from, hindi pa kasi sila na-awardan, coming from the office of the president. Okay? But they know already na may recognition level sila. But pending the awarding, that's the reason why we cannot announce it yet. Now, the level 3, recognition for mastery and quality management, demonstrates superior results clearly linked to robust management system. So example, let me first share from the public sector. Meron na pong naka-level 3 sa public sector, and I think you will agree that they deserve that award because they're really good, including expertise of the doctors. Philippine Heart Center po is a level 3 recipient. Okay? For the school, we don't have yet for level 3 as this time. Okay. Another level 3, you have IMI, the Intel, you have NYK Philship. Okay. You have Panasonic or Matsushita, level 3 recipient, and so on. Okay. Now for the level 4, this level 4 po, this is the one equivalent to the Baldrige. Okay, this is the highest level of excellence. Demonstrate management excellence to improve and build outstanding results and excellent system. Okay, so in the Philippines, so far, the one announced, we have Unilab, a PQA recipient for performance excellence. And we have one more. So nakadalawa na po tayo, but we cannot yet divulge it because there's no formal awarding yet from the Office of the President of the Philippines. Yeah, meron na po tayong dalawa na naka-level 4. Okay? Because the PQA, di ba? Okay, introduced 1997 and it's already 2021. So we have 2 PQA awardees, but the other one still confidential. Okay. So let me end with this slides. How come we are here? Basically because we want to be better today than you were yesterday and better tomorrow than you are today, right? And we can do this by adopting the PQA framework. So it says here, it begins with leadership and culminate with improved results. Okay. And we need to turn up the heat. So that the role of leaders, it's very important. Okay. Based on the PQA, based on the Malcolm Baldrige, so motivated employee smells goods, and what we want to really achieve, we're after the so what. we're after the result. So we need to turn up the heat. Okay. Now, when you adopt this, when you implement this, based on experience also, very important in the successful implementation, even it's not PQA, even other management system, I know you will strongly agree that leaders are very important. And what we want to do really, it's leader supports through visible action. Okay? So that expectations will be achieved. So if you will be adapting this, if I always tell organizations, ma'am, papaano ba? You know, ano bang una namin gagawin? You know, the first that you should be doing, there should be a buy-in from the top management. Because the moment there is a buy-in from the top management, it will be easy because the others will follow. Sino bang nagbibigay ng direction? Top management. So, case one is very important. Okay? It should start because if you're applying for the PQA, you apply the whole organization. So it starts with the highest officer or ranking official of the organization, other senior leaders of the organization, middle management, and it should not stop there. It has to be deployed or implemented to all line personnel, all the way to the people who do real work. Okay? And let's always be reminded about these things. Hindi tayo pwedeng maging stagnant because only our best is good enough. Excellence is always a moving target. When you do this, because we exist, because we have customers, you will be again revisiting or enhancing your relationship with the customers. You will be looking at all your processes, okay? The key and the support processes, and you will be looking at innovation. You will be forced to really revisit your process on how you do innovation. Because the question, why do incremental improvements when you can leapfrog, when you can innovate, right? And we always have questions. When will life return to normal? Actually, life will not return to normal. That's the reason why we always use new normal. New normal. So we have pandemic now, and allow me to read from the quality codes. To address the crisis, we have confidence that PQA based on Baldrige may help ensure that all the critical aspects of an organization are evaluated and improved in concert with one another and for reinforcing the mission, vision, values, and culture. We already have a proven framework. We just need to use it. Let me relate this with the reality, with the pandemic. We can have the business excellence criteria as a helping hands to manage the COVID-19 crisis. So allow me to share this. COVID-19 crisis, PQA, how can PQA help? So let me just share this. I received this from organizations. They mentioned, Miss Angie, we have COVID crisis. Let us first stop PQA. We do not have time. We have other priorities. You know what? When I heard that, I was saddened. Why? Why? It means that the concept of the PQA has not been internalized. PQA is not just for award. It's not just for applying for an award, but it's a system to address even the crisis. Okay? So PQA is not just paperwork. It should help the organization. So in times of uncertainty, framework can help. They provide a structured way to think and become a foundation for action. So we need to use the available proven frameworks and standards. So I want to mention this in relation to the COVID. Winning this fight against COVID-19 depends on excellent leadership. Kasi dapat cool ang leader, hindi mawawala ng pag-asa, di ba? Okay, they should be able to walk the talk, okay? They are calm, but of course addressing the impact of the pandemic. We need to revisit our strategies because we need to have modified action plan. It should be addressing the requirement of the customer. The more we need to take care of our customers because our approach now may not be effective anymore because almost all we are doing safety protocols, physical distancing, data management, category 4. Yeah, almost all virtual, for example. So do we have a platform to support it? How do we do the online? Yes, the more we need to take care of our employees, we need to ensure that we support them in terms of mga protocols, safety, okay? And then we need to have robust processes to make us still effective and efficient. Now, guys, isn't it all of this? This is the PQA criteria. All of this, the different categories, these are part of the PQA criteria for performance excellence. Okay, so my closing message, it's a decision really whether to adopt Philippine Quality Award. And based on my experience doing this, assisting organization adopt it, it is hard work. It is not easy. I want to be very transparent about it. And you cannot delegate the responsibility to make it happen. However, guys, ang balik naman nito malaki. The result will be well worth the effort. And sometimes others mention, bakit ngayon lang? Dapat noon pa to. Okay. And given the pandemic that we are having now, okay, I just want also to mention, we need to have faith, be still and have faith even if there is a storm. Okay. And my closing message, this is also my opening message earlier, so allow me to bring it back. Today, you got a decision to make. Which one will it be? To get worse, stay the same, or to get better? And of course, we all want to get better through the Philippine Quality Award as one of the approaches to get better. So with that, guys, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for patiently attending our session. So I will now stop share to entertain questions. Doc Sans?
Hi, good afternoon again. Good morning, Ma'am Angie. Thank you so much for a very comprehensive and insightful presentation. Ma'am Angie already discussed the nature and scope of the Philippine Quality Award, the overall requirement of the award, and the application process. So I also invite you to attend the PQA application course this coming May 19 to 21 to fully understand the multiple requirements and other areas needed for the Philippine Quality Award, and for you to come up with a very sound 55 application report. At this juncture, our participants can now ask questions or share their key takeaways. So for you to be properly acknowledged, kindly please cite your name and your company affiliated with.
Kindly just unmute yourselves because I muted everybody earlier. Do we have questions in the chat box?
Anyone who would like to ask? Any brave souls there?
Okay, so the comments here, mostly comments.
None. So you must have understood.
Hoping to get the copy. Aya po, we will be sharing po. Doc Sans, you may want to look at the comments in the chat box.
Yes, ma'am. We only have one input from Ma'am Tonette Acaldo Pabalan asking for a copy of the presentation material. Don't worry, ma'am. We'll be sending it to you. The secretariat will send it to you. Hi, Ma'am Nanette.
Hello, thank you so much. I am from Bohol. I'm newbie here. I'm newly appointed with the position of the PCARM, Planning, Quality Assurance and Risk Management Director. So I'm eager to join the coming workshop or training on May 19 to 21. I already have registered. So thank you so much for the takeaways, the learnings that I have from you, ma'am. So thank you very much for sharing with us.
Okay, you are welcome po.
Thank you, ma'am. Also, one message or one question. We have a question coming from Ms. Geraldine Lat. For this year's cycle, Ma'am Angie, what is the coverage of the data? That is 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's correct po. So if you're applying for 2021, okay, this cycle, this year, 2021, so the data that you will be showing, minimum, at least 3 years, right? So what will be the 3 years? So 2018, 2019, 2020. Okay. However, guys, for the trend or the data, you can go beyond the 3 years because it also depends on the cycle that we are talking about. So, for example, the data that you'll be presenting also, it is talking about machine efficiency. So it depends on the data. So if the machine efficiency, we cannot really get it just by showing 1 year, the efficiency for that or effectiveness. So we may have to add additional number of years po. Okay. So the minimum I'm referring to 3 data points. 3 data points. How come 3 data points? 3 data points because we need to show po the trend. Okay? Sige pa.
Hope that clarifies. Another question from Ms. Raquel Espirito. Thank you so much for this webinar. This is this is not a question. It's a very timely as we are preparing now for our PQA application, maybe next cycle. So wow, we're looking forward to your application report, Ma'am Raquel Espirito. And another from NU Manila, Ma'am Joanna. I'm from National University. Thank you for this comprehensive presentation. I learned a lot. NU is ISO certified. Would the preparation for PQA overlap or be in addition to some of our preparations done in ISO? Apologies if this was already discussed in the presentation. I missed out some parts.
Okay. Thank you for that question, Doc Joanna. Actually, I want to answer the question based on experience. Okay, sabi nila, Ma'am, ano na naman to? Kakatapos lang ng ISO certification namin. Tapos ilang programs pa, dinaanan namin sa accreditation. And then nagpi-PQA, you know what? I answered it this way. I smiled and answered, diba? Very good. Sagot ba naman sa, sobra ka naman, Miss Angie, natuwa ka pa. You know, guys, sabi ko sa kanila, you know, guys, the one that you're doing now, actually, it's in preparation for your coming site visit. Because isn't it, when you say PQA, this is an integrated approach to address all areas in the organization. So you're doing accreditation. So the approach for accreditation, where did you declare it? Ma'am, part siya ng improvement. Okay, you're doing ISO. Where's that? So it means that, okay, this is already an preparation also for the PQA. So my answer is, it is all complementing po. It should not, there's no overlapping, but it is complementing. Sige.
I totally agree with you, Ma'am Angie. Okay, another response from Ma'am Nina Aposaga. Thank you for this webinar. It is nice to see again, Ma'am Angie.